I wanted to do a little bit of an update on this because, as you know, I made a video. We've been talking about it. It's been the talk of the town in the community. What is going on with add-ons? You know, Blizzard basically said they're going to rein back on some add-ons, disable some of the functionality. But I think a lot of people don't understand what that actually means, like what add-ons they're getting rid of, what functionality isn't going to work. Because a lot of people have basically said they're just removing add-ons, which isn't true. Some add-ons will work. But I came across this interesting post yesterday on my X/Twitter timeline by Nagi. And I wanted to read it, talk about it, and show this off, okay? Because I thought it was very interesting. So he says, I'm not sure if people realize how massive of a change the upcoming add-on/API restrictions is going to be. Out of the top 15 most downloaded add-ons on addons.wago.io, 10 exclamation are going to be completely dead or heavily affected. The biggest change to the game ever. So we can take a look here at some of these add-ons. Let me put it in here. So these are the ones that aren't going to work anymore, okay? So these are all of the add-ons, and I'm assuming the ones in red are the ones that are not going to really work anymore. So you have Deadly Boss Mods. The Shooting Deadly Boss mod, which is obviously a very popular add-on. Details. I think Details will still work. I don't know exactly how Details is going to work. And Blizzard kind of already addressed this as well. So it looks scary that Details isn't going to work, but I think Blizzard might actually implement their own version of Details. Because they realize that damage meters are super important to the game. Yeah, they said they're going to be making a server-side Blizz damage meters that's even more accurate. So I think that's great to just have that as something that's a base part of the game. I do semi-feel for a lot of the creators of these add-ons who have been building and developing these add-ons for such a long time. It does suck for them. So it looks like the Raider.io Mythic Plus raid progression recruitment, that's going to work. Auctionator is going to work. Little Wigs will no longer really function. Plater will no longer really function. Big Wigs will no longer really function. Hekili, Priority Helper, will no longer really function. Rare Scanner will work. Pawn will work. All the things will work, but GTFO won't work. Method Raid Tools won't work. Deadly Boss Mods won't really work. And then Weak Auras won't really work as well. And on some of the add-ons that will work, once again, it looks like things like Angry Keystones, Astral Keys, Omni CC. That's kind of nice. Omni CC will work. World Quest Tracker, TomTom, Trade Skill Master, Mythic Dungeon IO. What won't work? Deadly Boss Mods, Threat Plates, Voodoo, Healbot, Continued, Big Debuffs. Big Debuffs, I think some of the functionality of Big Debuffs will still work. Because I think Big Debuffs is really, really important. Just because, yeah. Big Debuffs has lots of different functionality. The thing that I like about Big Debuffs the most is just showing, you know, what buffs I guess people have. They need to kind of make, I think Big Debuffs is one of those things that they need to make like kind of like default on the UI. Another thing that I really want them to do, and I forget what add-on it is that does it. It's like Better Blizz Frames. Yeah, I think it's Better Blizz Frames. But I think one thing that's terrible in the game, in the base UI, is you can't actually customize like what icons you see on the frames nicely. So like these days, most healers, what they'll do is in their frames, right? Here, like let me bring this up. I think this is, for me, a non-negotiable, something that actually like kind of needs to happen. So you have your frames, right? And right now, this looks really ugly, but whatever. Right now, like debuffs look like this, which is just unacceptable. You know, it's like, and they'll all be mixed in. They'll show like a Curse of Agony, a Corruption, and then a Polymorph. And it's the exact same, which is, it's really hard to see. So what I think they need to do is you need to be able to customize, like, you know, seeing like things like priority dispels and crowd control. Like I like a Polymorph that big, and then like a little Curse of Agony like that. You know what I mean? Like I want to see priority debuffs. It makes it way easier to play the game. Without that, it's really terrible. It's almost impossible to see the crowd control you need to dispel on people. It's awful. So this is one that I really want. The other thing I think I would really like them to add is expand upon their arena frames. I think that would be really nice. Like things like a diminishing return tracker are, I think, pretty important. I think if they got rid of the diminishing return tracker, it would be something that PvPers would probably riot about. Now, I actually think there's an interesting argument you could make that getting rid of the DR tracker actually makes the game better for people. Because they're not always, you know what I mean? Like, you could argue, and I'm not saying I necessarily believe this, but I'm saying just playing devil's advocate a bit, you could argue that being perfectly stunned, polymorphed, feared, cycloned, off diminishing return always makes for a worse gameplay experience than somebody like messing up DRs and stuff like that. I'm saying there's an argument to be made. I'm not saying I'm making that argument. I'm just saying, like, you know, maybe it would be more fun if sometimes you weren't CC'd perfectly on diminishing return. You know? I don't know. Could be wrong about that. Blizzard actually already said they need to make DRs more visible. Yeah. So, yeah. We make like a quick little list of the add-ons that I think are kind of non-negotiables. I think what do we want? We want like basically you want S Arena. What else do you guys think is important? I think big debuffs to some extent is really, really important. Better Blizz frames so you can sort your debuffs and stuff like that. Omnibar? I don't think Omnibar is going to work. I don't think Omnibar is going to work anymore. Oh yeah, like a battleground enemy. They probably need new battleground. They need new battleground frames. I think another one that would be really cool is customizable power auras. So like I said, I mentioned this before. I really like power auras, which is basically like, you know, upload this to Paint really quick. Power auras basically are the things that look like this, where you have, you know, like little auras on your screen that show you your buffs and debuffs. I hope that doesn't break for at least personal buffs, right? Like if I want to track my own personal buffs, I feel like that's functionality that shouldn't really be broken. And that's probably what I'll end up using weak auras for, to be honest with you, because that's what I currently use weak auras for the most. And that's something I want to continue to use weak auras for, because sometimes like the certain buffs and debuffs aren't tracked very well in the game. But yeah, I wanted to just give you guys a little bit more context about what's going to be working and what's not going to be working, because I think Nagi's right that this will probably be one of the single biggest updates to World of Warcraft ever. This is insane. It's going to be an entirely different game. Is MDT affected? Not sure yet. When does this go live? We don't know for sure, but 12.0 at the earliest, according to the info we got. You should talk about how GSE is still usable based on that list. GSE allows you to bypass the GCD penalty and make a more efficient one-button rotation. What is GSE? I don't know all the... What patch is this? I think it's next expansion at the earliest, yeah. I guess I'm using recount again. Sad. Well, the idea... so a lot of people are like, what? There's no details? There's no recount? Well, they said they're going to add one. And so I will say as well, right now, if you came in and just removed all the add-ons, I actually think it's a terrible thing to do. I think Blizzard really needs to work up the base UI. And to be fair, they have made a lot of improvements. I just think it needs to be even better. Not gonna lie, I think removing damage meters and advanced combat logging is really good for the game. Parse meta and damage meta meter Andes are really toxic for the game. And LFG from a PvE standpoint, but PvP death logs need to be... I don't think details is going anywhere. I think they're gonna... If they add it to the base UI, yeah, I don't know. People love it. Let's see how many people quit the game. I don't know if people will quit the game over this. Maybe. I'm not convinced. I think the game will certainly be more approachable. Add-ons aren't the issue. Game design is. Yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand, right? It's like, that's what they said anyways in the interview. Because I saw a lot of PvPers freaking out about the add-on change, but I mean, the fact is a lot of these changes are going in because of raids and dungeons, not because of PvP. you know? Sweepy said 99% of PvPers will quit. I don't think that that's true. I don't even think that's remotely true. Not even a little bit true, but well, time will tell, I guess. Time will tell. We'll have to wait and see, because I feel like there's two camps right now. There's one side that's saying if you remove the add-ons, you remove the barrier to entry, and maybe more people will want to get into the game. Even from a PvE standpoint, they can make dungeons and raids a little bit less difficult, so maybe they're more approachable for people. You don't have to play as perfect. And then you have people like Knight who are saying, what the F do you mean? 99% of PvPers want this. So very, very, very interesting. But yeah, I think it was an interesting update. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. And we're also, this is going to be on YouTube. So just so you guys know, we're streaming every single day live on YouTube. If you're not already on YouTube, check it out. I want to see what we got. We got 150 concurrent viewers on YouTube right now. Are you kidding me, bro? You freaking kidding me? Yeah, so if you guys are a fan of the YouTube channel, we're going to be streaming on YouTube now. All right, cool.